someone wants to begin Ganesh Sadhana at home, what is your suggestion?
Start from basic mantras. Ganpati Nama. You can make a Ganesha out of haldi, out of clay. After some time, there is not even Ganesha, there is not even me, there is only light, which is the actual purpose of any sadhana.
Wow.
When you read the Devi scripture, it says that he is the creator. Shiva's scriptures say the same thing. Vishnu, they say the same thing. So is there a battlefield up there? You have to understand God as one. If you're just asking pandits and people who perform pujas, they'll misguide you. They are not teachers. Approach people who don't scare, because fear is so anti-spirituality. Always remember, the deity loves you more than you love the deity. He chooses you because he's already fallen in love with you.
I would like to believe that the deity is speaking to you.
Yes. A relationship with the deity is a very beautiful relationship, and the deity himself will teach you. There is a guru's voice that starts speaking in your head. Some people call it the voice in your head. There is a clear indication of what you should do.
A lot of people get very excited because of our Tantra based podcast.
Yes.
And begin to do some very intense sadhanas at home.
Don't go into complex deities. In some house, lady was reading Durga Shaptashati during the Navratras and she died of a cardiac arrest.
There is a point where your body and your head tells you, hey, stop. You may not want to stop.
This is called ajapa japa. The mind is now saying the mantra in a repeated manner. You just keep going.
Why did no one teach us this when we were growing up? Maa Gyan Suveera, one of our most loved Tantra-based guests, is back. Today we cover Ganpati Tantra, an aspect of Sanatan Dharma and Tantra in general that's not spoken about on the Indian internet much. We hope to change that beginning with this episode. Maa Gyan Suveera is back with another Tantra blockbuster. I'm going to start with a tiny mantra. Om Gam Ganpate Namaha. Thank you for being here, Ma.
Thank you, Ranveer. So nice to see you again.
Glad to be hosting you in my house. That's
Yes,
another
it
thing.
feels so wonderful. The energy is so lovely.
Okay. How are you, ma'am?
I'm doing very nice. Thank you.
Okay. I would love to know what you think of Ganpati Sadhana in general. And I would love to ask you from the perspective of the listeners. If someone wants to begin a very basic at-home Ganesh Sadhana, what is something they can do? I offer Durva every morning.
Yes.
I light a diya and I just say Om Gam Ganpate Namaha and place it with intention. And then I do the 18 names. Om Samakhaya Namaha,
Yes.
Om Ekadantaya Namaha. And then it goes on. Firstly, am I publicly allowed to say this? Secondly, what is your suggestion from a very practical perspective for the listeners? I know that people who've clicked on this are already Bhakts of Ganesh Ji. And one last thing before we move forward. We had our first podcast with a child yesterday. His name is Prathamesh. One of the most beautiful conversations of my whole podcasting career. And this is a gift from him.
So sweet.
So it's a Ganpati.
Yes.
And I know that today's podcast is dedicated to Ganpati.
Mm-hmm.
So, over to you, ma'am.
Yes. You see, our Gurudev's teachings say that when you consecrate your life to the deity, when you give your life to the deity, then the deity invocation can happen in any way. His teachings are very organic. The school that I belong to, very organic teachings, says that, and we see people practicing when there is the Ganesh festival Utsav happening. You get so many reels and so many talks on the TV that say that you can make a Ganesha out of haldi, out of turmeric or out of clay, just by yourself at home, or with mixing various herbal powders and make a Ganesha. So actually, that is the process of invocation. The point here is that when people want to start a Ganesh sadhana, first they should decide in their mind that what is the purpose of doing any sadhana. First of all, let us understand whether it is of this god or that god. The purpose is to dissolve your ego completely into that deity, to dissolve our identity completely into the deity. The deity is and I am not.
The deity is an I am
he
not.
he is and I am not. That means the power of him is there. He is functioning through me, so to say. My ego is not functioning through me, the deity is functioning through me. That means whatever carry forward of life I have, from my past lives, and the ego is shouldering the responsibility in this life, and I am the doer. But when you dedicate your life to any sadhana, any deity sadhana, then now you're handing over your life, the steering of your life wheel, to him. So he is and I am not. And that is the process of starting the sadhana. So if one starts sadhana with a pigeon brain, thinking, okay, let me experiment with Ganesha, then I'll see how this is, then let me experiment with this one, then I'll see how this is. Who is beating around the bush? The ego is beating around the bush. And the ego has to ultimately dissolve in Paramatma. Then it is better that you get wedded to one deity.
Mm.
Once for all, tie the knot.
Mm.
Understanding, knowing the science of it, that this deity also dissolves in Paramatma and I am actually getting wedded to Paramatma.
Mm.
When that is clear, then the sadhana will reveal itself.
Mm.
The deity himself reveals the sadhana, which mantra, how many times. He will mold you. He will mold you to get absorbed.
It will reveal itself through the people you meet and through the internet.
Yes, to something that you come across and you really feel, I want to do this.
I mean, I'm asking you this from the perspective of people I've come across in my journey over the last 2, 3 years. There's a lot of people who get very excited because of our Tantra based podcasts
Yes.
and begin to do some very intense sadhanas at home based on mantras they've picked up off of the internet,
That shouldn't be done, I feel.
especially if it's got a Bij Akshar.
Yes, you have to prepare your body. It's like a copper wire has to be strong enough to take 1,000-volt current.
Hmm.
You have to prepare your body. Not that anything wrong will happen, but it doesn't take you anywhere. You should start from small basic mantras of that deity, slowly increasing the count, of chants that you're doing, and then slowly reading the stotras connected to that deity, slowly meditating and focusing on how your energy field feels. It's like establishing a relationship with the deity slowly in privacy, rather than making it a public affair where you're misguided and oh, don't do this way, you do it this way. You have 1,000 people giving you munder matir bhinna, they say, the 1,000 the heads and 1,000 advices. So a relationship with the deity is a very beautiful relationship, and the deity himself will teach you in some way or other. There is inner voice that opens up. We call it Swaguru Bodh. In our Sanskriti, we call it Swaguru Bodh. Swaguru Bodh means there is a guru's voice that starts speaking in your head, and that inner voice. Some people say the voice of your heart, some people call it the voice in your head, but there is a clear indication of what you should do. And when you begin your journey lovingly with faith, trust, surrender, have a firm conviction that the deity that I'm associating with, is not a punishable system, it's a loving system. So there ought not to be any fear. Number one. Number two, start establishing consciously a loving relationship. Then the guidance will come, the pace, the speed with which you want to progress will come. And then there are people like us who are there who can, someone, I think everyone should approach people who don't scare, number one, because fear is something I think is so anti spiritual, spirituality. And don't go into complex deities. Take on simple deities which all the rishis have given for humanity to practice. Why should one go into guhya sadhanas? Tell me. A beginner should never go into guhya sadhanas. They should go into household sadhanas that are advised by our seers. Simple Om Namah Shivaya, simple Ganpati Nama, or Devi's mantra, or and from there you build up your inner potential. Build it up, then get into, and then the guru will come. A guru will arrive in your life who will take you into guhya sadhanas.
Okay. According to me, lighting a diya is a great
Yes,
first step,
absolutely, yes.
right? Are there any rules about ghee or oil?
No rule. The basic purpose of the diya is asato ma sadgamay, tamaso ma jyotirgamay, mrityor ma amritam gamay. That is the prayer for the diya. We are actually lighting the lamp because we want that flame to burn inside of us. And so it does not matter whether you're having a ghee or there's puja tel available in puja shops, which is normally either mustard oil, or there is a sesame oil. People can use that. And if there is a special occasion, do a ghee. In North India, the ghee gets solidified in winter, so we don't use ghee that time. We use sesame oil or we use mustard oil. So that does not matter. God is not looking into the micro things of what we are using. You see how poor people worship. They use ordinary things and they worship. They don't buy extraordinary things. When people are economically good, then they want to offer dry fruits to God. God does not differentiate between sugar granules or little jaggery or dry fruits. He doesn't. So it's like that. So the basic purpose of lighting a lamp, and it's the most important thing, you rightly said, that first thing, people have to learn to light a lamp, because that invokes it's like lighting a lamp within, inside. And there are mantras for lighting a lamp. You have Shubham Karoti Kalyanam Arogyam Dhana Sampada Shatru Buddhi Vinashaya Deepak Jyoti Namastute. Simple mantras are there. Or you can say in English, if your thought language is English, light a lamp and say, God, please invoke this light inside me so that I can see you in brightness. We can do invocations in any language. If someone's mother tongue is Tamil, Marathi, Gujarati, it doesn't matter. God is beyond language.
Because every deity recognizes the root of your intentions behind the sadhana.
Yes.
They can go deep within and understand why you're doing this.
Absolutely, yes.
So if you're doing this from a place of material gain or from a place of aggressive spiritual growth,
Yes.
Putting that intention of hustle behind the sadhana,
Yes.
I don't even think that's correct.
Yes.
I think it has to be completely from a place of love and surrender.
It has to be from there. You start there. There may be issues in one's life that one would want to deal with the help of the deity. No doubt about it. But that can be dealt later. That can be spoken to the deity later. You have to begin with love and surrender. Absolutely perfect.
Okay. Something that helps me tremendously is that I try offering specific things to the deities I worship. But if those things are not available, I visualize that it's coming out of my heart.
Yes.
And I'm placing it in front of the deity. And sometimes as I'm doing that, I tear up.
Yes.
Because I know the place it's coming out of.
Yes.
And I think the deities recognize that as well.
Oh, yes. There's Shivmana's Puja written. Very beautiful. Adiguru Shankaracharya has written. He says when things are not available, even when the Vigraha is not there. Suppose you're traveling and even the idol of the Lord is at home and you're traveling. You could visualize him and you could do all the decorations that you want mentally and offer all your bhavana, to the deity, and it is accepted. It is a complete puja.
Yeah. The reason I'm mentioning this is because when you actually have those objects available, if you have practiced doing it in your mind and heart for some time, then you'll be able to offer those objects with that intention of bhakti,
True
love.
that. Yes.
It kind of trains your heart into doing sadhana with the right intention.
Yes.
Another thing that helps me tremendously is I genuinely try burning myself up in my sadhana. Like there is nothing, I'm not thinking about how many mantras are left. I'm not thinking about how many mantras I've done. I first and foremost try to enjoy it.
Yes.
And if I'm not enjoying it, I get up and come back to it after some time.
Yes.
The enjoyment is at the core of what I'm doing, not the numbers.
Yes. That's absolutely right. You have to do your sadhana with your heart. All your puja, all your rituals, you have to do it with your heart. If you do it like a formality, it makes no sense. It's okay. But, we take a sankalpa, for instance, to light a lamp every day and do your everyday mantras or puja. We take a sankalpa, we take a promise. So people do it. Sometimes they are in a hurry to go to the office or, to go to their work. Then they just do it as a formality. That's okay. But the actual purpose of doing this is to develop a emotional relationship with the Lord.
With Ganpati, because it's a Ganpati special episode, offering Durva, which is like, I don't know how you'd describe Durva.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a wise early step that anyone can take up?
Yes, it is. You see, the things that are written in the Purans, the offerings of different gods and goddesses, one can adhere to that, one can stick to that. But at some point in your life, you transcend, all the do's and don'ts with God. at some point in your life, and that is true progress when you transcend, and then, for instance, we have the Mahaganpati Pratima with the Devi sitting in our temple. And when we did the Pran Pratishtha, the Panditji was saying he should wear it's nice if you can have a cloth for him, the way the South Indians decorate. And I want him to just wear the Yagyopavit. And because this is the way my Shraddha was coming. And then with Gurudev's permission, it happened like that. So at some point, you will transcend all the formalities. And then what you will design will be with lot of love and with lot of all the available things. There are people living in America, there are people living in Europe, and many places where a lot of things are not available. Many things are not easily available. So if you tie your mental conditioning that my puja is not complete until I offer the durva, or until I offer a supari or pan, or then that gives you
Tension.
yes, tension, discomfort. So all the things that are there, in my vicinity and in my availability, these are things I will offer to my God. Same thing goes with Naivedya. There is a system of offering Naivedya every day. And if we program our head or condition our mind that this is one sweet and one vegetable and one dal, and this is going to be offered to the God every day, and then that is not done sometimes. Household, we are making sandwiches sometimes, for instance, in household, I'm not talking about the temples. The temples are very strict about it, and that's good. But I'm talking about common people. Common people, sometimes you're making soup, or you're making sandwiches, or you're making all kinds of food these days. Naivedya means that before I partake, my Lord should partake. That is the meaning of offering the Naivedya. That before I consume food, I want to offer this to the Lord. A, with gratitude that this is cooked in my house. B, that what I am eating also goes to Him. What I am eating also goes to Him. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva tena gantavyam, Brahma karma samadhina. Very beautiful shloka in the Gita. In all the Gurukuls, the children say this shloka before eating food. So we are putting everything into consciousness. Consciousness is cooking. Consciousness is being cooked. And it has been eaten by consciousness and goes into the fire of consciousness.
Wow. Wow. That's the translation.
Yeah,
Oh
kind of.
Wow. Okay. I'm almost at the end of that early step description. Again, stotras, bhajans, great place to begin for someone beginning early. I think every Ganesh Bhakt in the world knows Vakratunda Mahakaya Surikoti Samprabha Nirvignam Kurmedeva Sarvakayeshu Sarvada. Is that a mantra you can chant at home?
Yes, you can. There is a Upanishad connected with Ganesha called Atharvashirsha Upanishad, which is a part of our sadhana, what we give to our students. There is a Ganpati Mula mantra given, and there is a Atharvashirsha Upanishad given. So the path is parallel. As it goes in our sampradaya, the path is parallel. That means we do the Mula mantra also, and we recite the Upanishad also. This way, you are taking the help of Bhakti Yoga with the mantra and Jnana Yoga with the help of Upanishad. Every Upanishad, whichever is being composed, we have a canon of 108 Upanishads, which are officially scholarly declared to be the group of Upanishads that people can study in the Vedantic tradition. All these Upanishads give you Brahma Gyan. They all give you Brahma Gyan. That is the purpose of composing the Upanishad. The rishis have composed the Upanishad because Brahma Gyan you will get. Now, how does one get the Brahma Gyan? Just by reading the Upanishad once this, once that, one does not get Brahma Gyan. Brahma Gyan you get when you read the Upanishad 1,000,000 times and you atmasat it. That means it goes right into every cell of your body. And there is a very beautiful composition of Adi Guru Shankaracharya called Dhanyashtakam. The first stanza says, Tad jnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam tad geyam upanishadsu brahma vidyayam. So he is saying in this paragraph that Tadjnanam prashamakaram yadindri. There is no such knowledge. Knowledge is not knowledge if it does not quieten your indriyas. He says that means if it does not purify your senses and quietens down all your system, आपके चित्त को शांत नहीं करता, then it's not knowledge. And where do you find this knowledge? You will find only in the Upanishad. So when we are doing deity pujas, any kind of deity puja, there are associated stotras and Upanishads for that deity also. Always.
All of them.
Most of them have. And this Upanishad should be read. Every day it should be read. Then you absorb the intelligence which belongs to that deity, and that will take you to Paramatma.
Where can I find the Upanishad?
Oh, they're everywhere. It's there on the internet. So much is there. So we have the Atharva Shisha Upanishad, for instance, and every Upanishad will declare. Every Upanishad will declare whether it is a Devi Upanishad or a Ganesh Upanishad or a Shiva Upanishad. It will declare that you are Brahma, you are Vishnu, you are this, you are that, you are, So, Tvameva Kevalam Kartasi, Tvameva Kevalam Dhartasi, Tvameva Kevalam Hartasi. Tvameva Sarvam Khalvidam Brahmasi, Tvam Sakshad Atmasi Nityam. That means every Upanishad will declare that you are the Atma. So, the intelligent people should understand that every path, every deity is taking you into the same playground of Paramatma. When you read the Devi scripture, it says that Devi is everything. She is the creator, she is the sustainer and the annihilator. You read Shiva's scriptures, they say the same thing. Vishnu's, they say the same thing. So is there a battlefield somewhere up there where the deities are fighting? No. They are saying that whichever deity you have fallen in love with, it will take you there. It will take you across the ocean. You see, so in the system of worship, as you started this topic, that lighting a lamp, reading one mantra or doing one mantra mala, and reading that particular associated stotra or Upanishad. Upanishad is far more superior because Upanishad gives you Brahma Gyan. And these sectarian differences that are there in our head about this God is mine, this God is not mine, that will fall apart. All the walls break and you come in the field of oneness, which is the actual purpose of any sadhana. You have to understand God as one. As long as there are fragments in the head, then that worship is not complete yet.
Now I'll bring you back to that second pathway, because I think this has concluded the basics of Ganesh Sadhana section. I also feel that if one does this for 3 to 6 months at least, and then becomes extremely hungry for a higher form of sadhana,
Yes.
they need to seek out people like yourself.
Yes.
Actually go to Rishikesh, go to Banaras, go to these places.
Yeah, contemplate, ask, talk. Talk to different people, to scholars, and when one wants to seek advice about what mantra to do, what sadhana to do, you need to approach a mature mind. And if you're just asking, pandits and people who perform pujas, they are not teachers. They are not teachers. They may advise with their all good intention. I'm not saying they'll misguide you, but all good intention. But that advice is not something that would be, you must approach people with experience and who are sadhaks themselves, and then go ahead. To begin with, if you spend that 6 months, for instance, in our school, we offer them the mantra, we offer them the Upanishad. After 2-3 months, I often ask them, what appeals to you more? Does this feel good? You feel happy doing the Upanishad, or do you feel happy doing the mantra? Some people say the Upanishad really feels nice. Then we give them avarans of the Upanishad. Say that, okay, now, do parayans of the Upanishad. Do more counts of the Upanishad and one mala of the Ganpati mantra. If someone says the mantra feels lovely, then we say, okay, read Upanishad once and do multiple counts of the mantra. So each one's wisdom opens up from inside, and therefore it's important to have a teacher, at least a guide, if not a teacher, mentor, guru, at least a guide, someone you can talk to and can guide you on the path. And Swaguru both should be trusted. You should trust what feelings you get inside, when you're chanting the mantra or doing the Upanishad. How do you feel inside? And let go of the confusion about, the crowd of information that is there of different deities and different paddhatis. That crowd should be just offered at the feet of the Lord. That I don't want to confuse myself. It's like you can't make a good dish out of 100 vegetables. It's like that. You want to make a bangan ka bharta, make a bangan ka bharta. Don't put too many vegetables in it. It's like that. So one needs to listen to the inner voice, inner calling, and therefore silence is very important. One needs to sit down in silence to listen to the heart and listen to the head, and ask, what do I want? Even if you're teary, many people get teary when they break down when they're in silence. It's okay.
It's
that
good
it's
almost.
always nice. It's always nice because it'll open you up to listening to what's coming from inside. Your soul is talking to you actually all the time. Your soul is on this journey in a slumber for so many lifetimes, and now finally it's knocking, knocking the door to your prakriti inside, that please do something and find out who I am. Where am I? On the long journey of being in slumber, it has lost its way home and it wants to go home. So it'll tell you, talk to you, it'll speak out, and it'll definitely convey something. And the magnetism of the soul is such that if you are not able to hear him, you will find someone coming and talking exactly what he wants to tell you. Consciousness speaks to consciousness. We spoke in the last episode. Consciousness speaks to consciousness. Actually, here in this world, it's only there's only God and nothing else. They say matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjay. Mahi sarvamidam protam sutre maniganaya. So there's nothing else in this world other than me, and I'm only interacting. You know, I'm only interacting.
Wow.
Yes, there's nothing else in this world. So what you want to hear, what he wants you to hear, if you're not able to hear it in silence, then he will make someone say that to you, and you will know that this is for me. You will know this is for me because now you recognize that this is coming from my inside. Yeah.
One of the greatest soldiers of the Indian military was on the show some years ago, Major Vivek Jacob. He said the exact same thing.
He said the
He
same
said
thing.
that all your life's experiences are first and foremost happening inside you.
Yes, of
And then it just
course.
gets reflected on the outside.
Yes, it is projected outside.
And he was probably one of the most evolved beings I've ever come across.
Yes.
Anyway, coming back to what we were talking about. A practice that's helped me a lot is that, say if I'm doing 5 malas of a particular mantra,
Yeah.
or if I've really deep dived into a particular stotra, where I've been reciting it in my own mind, while you recite it and while you burn yourself in that
Yes.
blaze of the mantra, there is a point where you're done with the count required,
Yes.
or where your body and your head tells you, hey, stop now.
Yes.
I think it's very important to pause at that moment and reflect.
Yes.
I would like to believe that the deity is speaking to you in that window.
Yes.
Could we speak about this window a little bit? It's basically what you said about reflection.
Yes, it's transcending. When you say you are burnt in the mantra, who is burnt in the mantra? When you say you are burnt, who is burnt? Your ego, the identity that is Ranveer inside, that gets in. It's like in the oven of the mantra, and it is in a non-existing form at this moment, and that is when you should keep quiet, because now the ego is not there. Now it's only the deity, and that communication is very important. You may call it communication, you may call it transference of energy, you may call it transmutation, you may call it transformation, anything. There is something that happens subtly, and one should give a pause to that. So ideally, the counts are given. We give mantra chants, they do 2 malas, 5 malas, 11 malas. It's basically a training to the ego. It's basically the training to the ego and the mind. The mind gets tired, the ego gets tired. And when these two are tired, then your system is open and receptive to receiving what the deity wants to give you. It's basically that exercise. So if you're not fulfilling that count and you are tired, for instance, and you want to stop, you stop. Give it a pause. Let that transference happen and then can continue.
If you're truly immersed in that burning blaze,
Yes.
You may not want to stop also.
You may not want to stop also, yes.
And then you just keep going.
You just keep going without a count. Yes. Yes. That's how the ajapa japa happens. There is a ajapa japa phrase.
What is ajapa?
There is one that we count. And then you just keep the mala down and the mind is now saying the mantra. So there is no vocal voice, there's no voice coming, but the mind is now saying the mantra in a, repeated manner. This is called ajapa japa. Yeah, it's very beautiful. And that's actually the yogic way of doing the mantra. The yogis sit for hours together with ajapa japa. They don't count, So it's the 2 hours, 3 hours of just doing the mantra. Let them, like you said, let the fire burn.
And I have to kind of pull it out to a hyper practical, almost materialistic perspective on everything we've spoken about. Um, I'll just give the audience a bottom line if they're not with us up till this point and they're questioning starting sadhana. Um, on every single day that I do my sadhana, I'm a different person right after it. Right after. I'm elevated. It's almost like every cell in your body has had a micro caffeine shot. Then I begin my day. Feels great.
Yes.
And I cannot operate unless I do at least a proportion of my sadhana.
Yes.
Ideally, whatever I have planned for every morning, I need to get that done at least. But I need to at least touch it to begin my day. And it's a great place to be.
Yes.
For multiple material world reasons as well.
Yes.
Would you like to just shed some light on this?
Yes.
I think it's an important conversation to be had for young people who are listening in.
So there are these 3 stages, taking reference to exactly what you said. There are these 3 stages when in your marga, on your path of doing bhakti. The first stage, you are imposing a system that someone advised you. It's like you're in a school and you're practicing it without knowing what's going to happen. And at the second stage, you have anchored into the deity. And it is this stage that you are talking about, when you're anchored into the deity, and without holding that anchor, you don't feel complete, you don't feel confident, you don't feel ready to go for the work or for your day. That's the second stage. And at the third stage, this physical anchor melts into a subtle, beautiful faith. A subtle, beautiful faith that your sadhana goes with you wherever you're going through the day. And it's like the anchor is not just there in the morning. The anchor is there with me through the day. The anchor is pulling me and taking me everywhere. And therefore that connection never breaks.
I think the obvious question is, when does the third stage arrive? But
third stage happens, and it's a matter of kripa. It's kripa sadhya. It's a matter of kripa. The more you are in love with the deity, and the more the deity falls in love with you, always remember the deity loves you more than you love the deity. Always. That's why you're practicing. He picks up the sadhak, and the sadhak does not have the capability to even fathom that power.
Oof. He picks you up.
Yes, he chooses you because he's already fallen in love with you.
Or she.
Or she, yes.
There is a connection of deities with their own vahans, for
Their
sure.
vahans and their respective herbs and
Oh, really?
essences and herbs and things, smells that they like, flowers that they like. सारा association है.
पूजा पद्धति.
पूजा पद्धति से ज़्यादा प्रकृति पद्धति.
Prakriti Paddhati. Like their preferences.
Yes, they're frequential.
For example?
We have the 7 chakras, 7 corresponding colors, flowers, aromas, vegetables, herbs, everything. Similarly, planets are there, corresponding herbs, corresponding aromas. Similarly, deities have. So they are basically vibrational frequencies that they correlate. And that's how Lakshmi के साथ lotus होता है. आपने जैसे गणपति के साथ दुर्वा बताया. शिव के साथ बेलपत्र है. ऐसे correspondence.
What about the animals?
एनिमल्स है, एनिमल्स भी है, जैसे आउल कनेक्टेड है इनके साथ में, पिकॉक है किसी डेटी के साथ में, शेर, द लायन इज कनेक्टेड. दे आर सिंबॉलिक. एनिमल्स आर मोर सिंबॉलिक. Like the black dog with the Bhairav is very symbolic of his power, and appearance. Our mind, is a fantastic machine. When we understand these correlationship, when we understand, then it becomes a reality. If someone doesn't understand it, he won't even notice it. Someone doesn't know it. So whatever we believe to be real, our whole being reacts to it.
Magic reveals itself to those who believe in it.
The synchronicity, and there is a law of synchronization, Then that black dog that you have Bhairav in your head, and that black dog will actually develop the qualities that gives you the sense of Bhairav. Similarly, a cat. There are people that it's all a conditioning of the mind, basically, because the whole nature, the whole Prakriti is inside of you and outside of you, consequently. So when we start relating with correspondence, crystal correspondence, flower correspondence, aroma correspondence, then you put that essence and you get that vibe. Your mind connects now to that frequency instantly. Therefore, we have all the corresponding flowers liked by the deities, and like you have Belpatra liked by Shiva, and lotus liked by Lakshmi, etc. Pan and Supari offered to Ganesha, or Durva offered to Ganesha. All these correspondence is there based on their frequencies and the human mind programming. And also the books written thereafter, in the Puranas, they have written so many stories about what the Vahans are, what the offerings are, what bananas to be offered, what fruits to be offered. So now this becomes a big collective programming. And it works like that because it falls under the law of synchronicity.
You spoke about Bhairav and dogs, and effectively a dog represents the quality of the blessings that Bhairav can bring in terms of protection,
Yes.
strength,
Yes.
bravery.
Yes.
I have to twist it and ask you about Ganpati now.
Yes.
Could you explain the mouse a little more?
Symbolically speaking, it represents the ego, and Ganesha rides over it. The mouse is a very destructive creature. It's a very destructive creature. You leave a mouse in the house and it's gonna break things and nibble into something and eat spoil things and eat food grains, etc. And it represents the ego. Symbolism is that, and Ganesha rides that mouse because the intellect rides the ego. Then it is a fantastic combination.
If the intellect rides the ego,
Yeah, that means your decisions are not based on the ego. Your decisions are not based on the ego, but the decisions are taken by the power of the intellect. Ganesha is a power. When he sits on the mouse, then that means the broadened, widened, enlightened intellect is now sitting on the ego, and that ego is in control of that intellect.
what is intellect?
What intellect is a discriminating power. See, in the Western world, there's only mind. But our Vedantic scripture has gone deeper to understand different facets of the mind, and we have classified into the 4 distribution of antakarna. So that means man, buddhi, chitta, and ahankar. These are the 4 aspects. They are the aspects of the mind only, but they're 4 departments, sub-departments. So buddhi, which is intellect, is the discriminating factor. That means if I see something, there is a thought in my mind. Suppose I see a bearded man in front of me. My mind says, who is this? The thought that comes when there is a sensual input, the mind will immediately put a question or a thought. Who is this? Now, who is going to give me this answer of who is this inside? This thought is put into the intellect. The intellect is discriminating and going to give me an answer. Looks like a thief or looks like a sadhu. How does it take that decision? How does the intellect take this decision? It takes decision tapping into the memory and the ego. It taps into the memory and ego. If I've had good experiences with a bearded person in the past, not past life, can be past life also, even in this life, there is a conditioning in my head that such kind of people are not good. Which is not an absolute truth. Yeah. But that conditioning is there in my head now that such kind of people are based on the memory. And the ego, if my ego feels threatened, if I feel threatened with that man, immediately the intellect puts it in the mind as not a good person, let him sit out. So the mind is where thoughts are produced. Intellect is where these thoughts are discriminated based on ego and the memory, right? And ahankar, the I identity, which is all the time doing things. What have I to do? How do I progress? The I is a doer all the time uselessly. Actually, under the folds of doing, the happening process is there. But the I feels that I am doing everything, including I've eaten my food and I'm, you eat your food. None of that after that is done by the ego. Everything is an automated machine. The digestion is happening, everything is happening. But the ego has this habit of doing everything. And so it worries about the past, it worries about the future. and it takes everything into its credit.
Ego is the root of anxiety.
Ego is the absolute root of ignorance and anxiety, both. And that's the purpose of the sadhana. The purpose of the sadhana is to make this mouse even smaller, as small as it can, and let your buddhi ride over it. That is Ganesha. So with Ganesh sadhana, basically, the ego is minimized, which happens with all the sadhanas. I'm not biased with, I'm someone who loves all the deities, and I love all the paths, and I know all the paths take you to Paramatma. So all the sadhanas will minimize the ego and eventually resolve this ego into the real I, which is Brahman, which is the Lord sitting inside you. And when you take up the sadhana, for instance, we take Ganeshas, the Ganesha, in the beginning of the sadhana, the Ganesha is there and I am here. I'm worshipping, I'm doing the sadhana. Over a period of time, I can only see Ganesha, I don't feel me.
Mm.
That's when
Stunning.
my ego has started dissolving into the deity.
Wow.
And after another some time, which could be months or years, there is not even Ganesha, there's not even me, there's only light. This is what we say, that the triad in Triputi, we call it in Vedanta, that the seer and the seen have merged into knowledge. And that is the purpose of any sadhana, be it Bhairav sadhana, Devi sadhana, any sadhana. To merge into the deity is only there, you are not there, and then the deity dissolves into the light.
That fire that you burn in during your bhakti,
Yes,
that takes over the whole universe.
yes,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Buddhi, ahankar.
Chitta. Chitta is your unconscious mind, the dark mind where there are all, unseen things hiding, especially traumas and old conditioning. It's heavy. It's like tar. Chitta is almost like it takes you to gravity.
Shackles.
Yeah, your mind is. We categorize mind into 3 levels. Your conscious mind. You and me are talking right now. This is conscious mind. It always gets connected to the unconscious. To the so this two together we call chitta. Your conscious mind, which is working hand in hand with the unconscious mind, we call it chitta. And in bhakti, in any sadhana and bhakti, the first aim is to make your chitta shant. That means to bring peace in your chitta. Because the unconscious is all the time hitting the conscious. There's fear all the time, there is worry all the time, there is all the time, because your past experiences are kind of, pushing the conscious mind. And the secret of bhakti is that, the secret of spiritual growth is that if you are able to liberate your conscious mind from the unconscious mind and connect it with the higher mind, which is always connected to the deities, then your journey becomes very flawless and smooth.
That's probably the process of sadhana, right?
That's the process of the sadhana. That when your chitta becomes shant, first stage, then unconscious you get disconnected and you get connected to the higher conscious, to the higher mind, and higher mind is hand in hand with your deity. In fact, your higher mind becomes adhin of the deity. That's how your deity will start speaking to you in your head.
I want to dive deeper into exactly
Yes.
what you said.
Yes.
What do you mean by adhin?
Adhin means submitted,
Okay.
under.
Okay. So effectively, to summarize, you're saying that the sadhana allows you to shed off what is holding your mind back.
Yes. And that is always the past.
Okay. That creates space.
Yes.
And that space is where the deity can come and pick you up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a cricketer friend of mine. His name is KL Rahul.
Yes.
And we discuss sadhana a lot. And he's also got a very intense amount of bhakti towards Hanumanji, like in his
how
life.
beautiful.
And he's got this one beautiful tattoo where it showcases a human being being lifted by this really muscular arm. It's clearly that of Hanumanji.
Wow.
Is it similar to what you're saying?
Yes, it's similar. The Maruts, I remember in the episode that we did in the first episode, we spoke little about Maruts, So Maruts are a very, very peculiar and intrinsic part of your pranic system. They are very, very, and very few people know and talk about this. The word Maruti in Hanuman has come out of the word Marut. Maruts are born to the Vayu's movement in the sun. When the process of creation happened, the movement of Vayu in the sun created Maruts. These are particles that high velocity particles that come from other galaxies. All right. The word Maruti comes from Marut. The word Hanuman also comes from Marut. Han is like a bij akshar that has the meaning that something that strikes with great velocity. And Man is huge and heavy and stable. So Hanuman word combination means something that moves with great velocity and can destroy anything which is huge and stable. All right. He was born to Kesari. Kesari Nandan bolte hain. He was born to Kesari and Anjana Devi. Kesari means sun and Anjana Devi means the dark primordial Prakriti when the thing was born.
Goosebumps all over. Right, go on.
Hanuman is that force. And this quality actually of the Maruts is present in all the deities. Is present in all the deities. Especially a portal of Hanuman has happened because of the bhakti that people have, immense bhakti that people have done of Hanuman. Hanuman portal is there. He is a living deity and people have seen him. I met a girl very recently who had a lot of skin issues all over her body, and she was a 30-something, not married, and gone into a lot of, sadness in the body. And she went out for a corporate, meetup somewhere, and she was in that dukkha, and probably she had something with everyone, and she had a sakshat darshan of Hanuman. She saw Hanumanji in front of her, and that episode could have been a hallucination. I mean, anybody could have just taken it to be a hallucination, but that event changed her life completely. Number one, her entire body was changed. That whole skin issue that she had disappeared within a matter of 1 month. Her whole kayakalpa bolte hain. Everything changed, and she has become a devout bhakta of Hanuman. Devout bhakta who never ever went into any temple or believed in any gods and goddesses because of her own tormenting life. She has become a devout bhakta of Hanuman. So Hanuman darshan people have had, all the deities give darshan. How does the darshan happen, I mean, this is what my Gurudev taught me. Many people may not be in line with this thought, but he says that when a bhakta has become completely surrendered and dissolved in the deity is so happy. And when I say deity, ultimately it is consciousness and Paramatma. Paramatma is so happy that to please his eyes, a darshan is created. And who creates this darshan? The Maruts in his body. The pranic particles in our body we have Marut Pavans. Every act of destruction in your body. Destruction means I'm not talking negatively. The food is broken into smaller particles, absorption is happening. So it's an act of destruction. Every act of destruction in our body which is required is done by the Maruts. The prana does not have its own power other than the Maruts. And when a person comes into bhakti, the Maruts are maximized. And when the Maruts are maximized, the soul itself has kripa over the bhakta and gives him the darshan of the deity he believes in. So people have seen live Krishna, Shiva. Those who are in bhakti have seen their deities in front of them. And this is the miracle of Paramatma, showering grace, and the Maruts do it. So Maruti Bhagwan, talking about him, he's an immense portal of power.
Perhaps this is why Hanumanji is linked to physical prowess?
Yes, also. All the siddhis are associated with him. And, the physical powers in the sense he can become small like this much, he can become big like this much, he can become heavy like a mountain, he can be light as air, as a feather. All these siddhis come from, they come from the Maruts. This is what needs to be understood. They come from the Maruts. And Hanuman being the deity for the Marut Pavans, they're called Marut Pavans. He's Vayu Putra. Vayu Putra means he's born to the Vayu, the movement of the Vayu in the sun.
Okay, to kind of summarize what you said, I think you've given us the Sanatani version of what are we but stardust.
Yes.
So you're saying that according to Sanatan Dharma, there were high velocity particles that found their way near the atmosphere of the sun. These particles of light or energy particles are referred to as Maruts.
Yeah, they're born to the Spandan of Shiva Shakti. You know, the S that you see in a yin and symbol,
yeah.
the white and black, is
Yes.
divided by a S
Yeah.
line, bright line. This bright line is where Maruts are born. Rudra is also a synonym to this Marut only. You know, when we say the power of Rudra, you see, it's also a product which is born to this Spandan of Shiva and Shakti.
Okay. From a very human perspective, everyone has heard the word pranayam, or increase the pran flowing through your body.
Yes.
So pran could be loosely understood to be external energy or energy that's present all around us.
Energy, every kind of energy is prana. Number one.
Okay.
When we do pranayam, it's basically the life force energy inside us. We are bringing that into control. Yama means to bring it in control.
So say you're doing the pranayam and the life force in you is increasing.
Yes.
Physical manifestation of that would be good skin, good hair, good health.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting. You said that it's the Maruts that actually cause changes inside your body and not the prana.
Yes, they're the soldiers in your prana.
So what is the linkage between the prana and the Maruts?
The Maruts are like, you could say, like floating particles on prana. They're the soldiers of the prana. And let's say, as you say, you know, in your blood there is hemoglobin. When your hemoglobin count is good, then you say your blood is good. In the same way, when the count of Maruts, and which automatically goes the moment you start sadhana. That is how people are able to manifest anything out of the thin air. The yogis, you know, they manifest anything out of the thin air. All these siddhis, even Vaka Siddhi, you know, all these siddhis come because of the Maruts.
You're increasing the number of Maruts in your body.
In the body with the sadhana, automatically. Wow. Automatically.
Just when I think that I've learned a lot about sadhana, there's suddenly a new concept through. I've never heard of this in my life.
Yeah.
It's the joy of podcasting as well.
Yes.
You know, so many human beings don't even click on these episodes because there's notions about what would be contained in the episode. Oh, this is the kind of shit my parents watch. I want to watch this.
Yeah. Because their time is not yet right for them. Time comes, then in the timeline, God lets you play in the nursery school as long as you want. Then He takes you up to graduation. He is the doer. And He takes us. That's why when you come into Bhakti, you understand that Anyatha Sharanam Nasti Tvameva Sharanam Mama. Tasmat Karunya Bhavena Rakshasva Vigneshwara. You say. There's no other solace other than being at your feet. And with your dire compassion, dear compassion, uplift me and take me higher. So when we don't know this, then we are ignorant. Then the doer is the ego. And the ego goes battling everywhere. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. On the account of Maya, you're just going round and round like merry-go-round. And you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up, you fall, you get up. And then you question, why am I falling? You know, so that time comes for everyone not to judge anyone. Even those who are ignorant are on their journey. Even those who are ignorant are on their journey. Everyone, even the worst of the person in the world, is on a journey. And this journey is ruled by a higher power, not by us. So to judge is to fall down in your bhakti. I always believe that. That it's God's world, it's His satta, His governance. And He knows what to do with all the men folk and the human folk. And we should quietly watch everything that is happening in the world. And if there is any analysis that one should do is only of oneself. That's it.
Okay. Because this whole episode has been about Ganpati.
Yes.
Another associated question. You know how one categorizes themselves as being a Shaivite or Shakt.
Yes.
Or Vaishnavite. Where do you place Ganpati in this?
Ganapatya.
That's a fourth.
It's a sampradaya, yes. Like you have Shaivites, Vaishnavites, Shaktas, Devi Upasakas are called Shakta. Ganpati Upasaks are called Ganapatya. It's a sampradaya.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say that every sampradaya has their own rules?
Yeah, rules are made. Like schools have rules and colleges have rules, but there are always these scientists and these creative lads, students who surpass all the rules. I'm one of them.
Gotcha.
So I honor the rules, and but my love equation with God is like, I feel that above these rules are love, is love, and that is paramount. And He teaches me rules. He teaches me rules. It's not that I am unruly. No, He teaches me rules, and I make my own rules. Yes.
Just asking you a question that's kind of been popping on the internet lately, okay? So I'm not trying to cause chaos or anything.
Yes.
In Ganpati year,
Yeah.
How do you-
Ganapatya.
how is like non-veg versus veg looked at? Is it a health related thing? Are there
Yes.
strict rules with food? And generally speaking, from a larger lens, what is your opinion on the rules of diet with respect to Sanatan Dharma in general? Because I get very varied answers whenever I ask this question.
Yes. In all the sampradayas, you would always have three categories of followers. One very sattvic, which go with by the law, by the rule, and they are very strict about food habits and about sensory inputs and about celibacy and about spending the energy in a particular way and not in a particular way, about the sangat and susangati and not never kusangati. They're very strict. There are rajasic people who are more celebrating. They like colorful gate, very beautiful celebrations with their bhakti. They're rajasic people, and often they are business oriented and people who are, having material pursuits in this world and can afford elaborate celebrations, etc. And then you have tamasic followers who are exploratory, and they often get attracted to tantric practices, and they have backgrounds that do not suddenly want to jump into a sattvic way of life. For instance, if somebody is born in a non-vegetarian family and has been eating non-vegetarian food like food, it's food for them. Like you have fish for someone born in Bengal, or like in Kerala, you have seafood as is there. It's like staple food for them. So the non-vegetarian food, I don't critically look at the food per se. It's after a certain stage of development of a sadhak that he needs to be very watchful about how the energy is moving in me. So the beginning stages, whatever family background you belong to, culture you belong to, you need not rebel against it. One need not rebel against it. The food is not bad, but what it does to you is bad after a point. So when you reach a certain level of sadhana, where your meditation is getting intense, and then you know yourself. For instance, if I eat urad ki dal 2 or 3 days at stretch, my body can feel the heaviness and I can't meditate. Similarly with onions or garlic or anything that is, so your energy system then after some time. So not to critically speak about non-vegetarian food, I say that any kind of food which is there in your refrigerator and in your kitchen can be good or bad for you. You have to identify your energy, this thing. So because non-vegetarian food is difficult to digest and creates a lot of tamasic heaviness. When you say tamas, it does not mean you become a bad person. It means it creates heaviness in the body, energy that you have to fight with then to become light in your, in your being. It gives you more, tamas means more heaviness. When you're meditating, you feel sleepy. When you want to exercise, you can't. When you want to do long couplets, long chants, then you can't. And your mind will then say, "Aj bas it's enough, I've done this much." So that procrastination and that heaviness in the mind and body comes with anything that does not digest easily, and could be even a black lentil. Could be even a black lentil. That's why when you reach a yogic level of sadhana, then people take only little khichdi, or they take very little. They don't even eat all the elaborate food which is there, because everything leaves an impact on the pranic system, So I don't view at that thing critically. It's not that, oh, he's a non-vegetarian person, should not be brought here, or that's a wrong way to talk about it. It's a staple food for many of the states that we know about, many of the countries that we know about, right? So we don't view at it negatively. It's for every individual on his marga of sadhana and bhakti, for him to decide what is not doing good to my body, I stop it. Similarly, it goes with Panchamakara we talk about. The Tantric sampradayas, most of the Tantric sampradayas, especially the Vamacharya sects, Panchamakaras are allowed. Panchamakaras means mamsa, madira, that is alcohol, or then maithuna, which is sex, and mudra. So these panchamakaras are actually banned things in spiritual practices in Sanatan Dharma or in any, but these are used by a lot of the sampradayas. They're allowed, not used, they're allowed by a lot of the sampradayas. The compassionate approach being that if these are there in your life, then you need to watch, observe, and grow over them. Say, for instance, celibacy is an important aspect in many yogic streams because it saves energy. But if somebody is an householder, then you cannot ask the person to become a celibate when he has his dharmic duties towards his spouse. So watchful, all the 5 things one needs to be watchful about and taken in moderation to begin with and eventually transcend. As you progress on the path, then you are asked to transcend. So sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic approach to sadhana is there in all the sampradayas, be it Devi sadhana, be it Shaivite. You have in Shiva's sampradaya also, you have the the deities are there where there is alcohol offered to the devata. There is plant medicines that people consume, but it's not because the devata wants you to get addicted to these things. It's because the devata wants you to transcend and eventually go over it. So the beauty of Sanatan Dharma is that our tradition, Indian Vedic tradition, is that for every level of person, there is a path. The crudest of the person who does not know any language or refinement in their being, for him also there is sadhana. There is a deity. You see people in tribals and villages and all, there are Kula Devatas, Kula Devis, their very crude practices are there, but they do it with faith and they transcend. And it's not the journey of one life, right? It is the journey of many lifetimes. So over the lifetimes, they refine and they come on better, cleaner ways of worship. These are all stages of evolution. Our bhakti also evolves. And you see that in one lifetime also. As you were 10 years back, as you are now, and as you would be 10 years later, you would be able to trace the journey. Similarly, it is with many lifetimes. Yeah.
Okay. We almost reached the end of this episode. There was something in your heart that you wanted to speak about on this platform. Something about common mistakes in the bhakti path.
Notions, yes. False notions and, misunderstandings. Like events we were speaking about when we were having our cup of tea. We were discussing about in some house that I spoke about with someone a few days back. Some lady was reading Durga Shaptashati during the Navratras and she died. She died of a cardiac arrest. Thereafter, in that house during the Navratris, they don't touch Durga Shaptashati. Now, this is something that happens often with many things, some lady died, so they don't wear bangles in the house. And something untoward happened, an accident happened, and people don't touch black thereafter in their family. These are misunderstandings and false conditionings. You see, there is a simple Vedantic statement that says, whatever you consider to be real, your whole being responds to it. Now, if you wire this thought into the head that something's going to happen to me if I wear black, something will happen. So, your whole journey of spiritual sadhana is to uncondition yourself. Completely uncondition yourself and give yourself into the open ground of Paramatma, where there is no conditioning. And unless you are able to untie yourself, free yourself of conditioning, there will be no progress.
Such an important tiny paragraph. I think people randomly associate these beliefs with the process of being Sanatani. One of which is wearing black clothes. You're wearing a black t-shirt.
Yes.
I'm wearing a black kurta.
Yes. For me, I feel powerful with black.
Same. It's my dedication to my God.
Yeah, same here. Our Ganesha is black in color.
Oh, really?
The Ganesha is black in color.
Okay. Yeah, same. So it's for my Bhairav
Yeah.
Devta.
Yeah.
And I feel very comfortable.
We are all born to darkness. Ranveer, isn't it an important thing to understand? We are all born to darkness and born to go towards the light. Our mother is darkness. Our mother is black. We are born to the primordial Kali. We are born to the primordial Prakriti, which is complete darkness. And then we are progressing towards the light. So all the colors in between are good colors. No conditioning. Finish.
Colors is one aspect of it. Would you say that Vastu Shastra is another?
Yes, it's a Shastra. It's a Upa-anga. That means it's a Vedic subject. But overdose of it is fatal.
I think let's leave this aspect of the conversation up to the audiences. Let them digest it in the way they seem right.
Yes.
In the way they deem fit. I just feel like ending this episode now.
Okay.
I felt like there was something to do in today's episode, and I think we've done the job.
Okay. Okay.
Needed to keep something Ganpati related on the channel, just as an offering.
Yes.
I'm glad I got to do it with you. That's all I'll say.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. As usual, it's genuinely an honor sitting in front of you and listening to your words.
Thank you, Ranveer, and all the best to you for your journey ahead.
Thank you.
And thank you to all your audience. You have beautiful audience, and may they always be there with you.
Thank you, ma'am. On their behalf as well. Thank you. That was the episode for today, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually our third recording with Maa Gyan Suveera. Thought we should record this and release it before the second one releases, because Ganpati was honestly a very big part of whatever happened in my life over the last 3 to 4 months. Just trusted my gut with this release. And I think for those of you who've gained from this episode, we've done the right thing as a production house. Keep supporting BeerBiceps, keep listening into TRS, and keep growing with us.